Welcome to Leave It Better with Smash Afrika. I need to untie my hair. It's been a while, man. Oh my goodness, it's been a while. Welcome to Leave It Better Than You Found It, a podcast by myself, Smash Afrika. Yo, we took a break and now we are back. This is episode 6, and my guest for this episode is the one and only Bonga Percy. Except, Bonga Percy, do you have a surname?
Of course, I do.
He's known as the mayor of Bethel. His surname is Vilakazi. I don't know if he is related to Tso Vilakazi.
No.
Okay.
I probably am. I just wouldn't know.
Welcome to Leave It Better. How are you, bro?
Thank you. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm here.
Yes, finally. I had to bring like a heavy hitter. Like we had to take like one of those breaks, those production breaks.
Yeah.
And now that we are back, I was like, who is the right person for the next episode of Leave It Better? Now, I started having chats with you before this podcast even went on the internet.
Yeah.
And you're not one person who does interviews.
No.
Why?
'Cause
Why
they
don't
make
you
me nervous,
do
dog. Like,
interviews, bro?
One, they make me nervous, but I just don't think I have anything unique to say. I don't think I've got a groundbreaking story that will make people think, yo, what a deep. I'm as shallow as they come.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, not really shallow, but they just make me uncomfortable.
Now, you are a SAFTA award-winning writer,
Yeah.
producer.
Yeah, I mean, multi. Don't say it like it's one.
And also an Emmy-nominated
Yeah.
writer, producer. Your experience in the game, right,
Yeah.
of being a series producer, a writer, goes more than a decade.
2 decades.
2 decades. More than 2 decades, in fact.
Slightly more.
Slightly more.
Yeah.
Now,
Don't be fooled by the looks.
yeah, I was going to say, how old are
Not
you,
a
bro?
young man.
Because number one, the role that you play in a production, and we'll walk through some of the productions that you got the privilege to
Yeah.
get into. But one can't assume that you start this career that you started if you were not called for it.
Yeah.
It's like destiny, if you like.
Yeah.
Where did it all begin for you? Like, and what I mean by that, before you were like, I'm a writer, I'm a producer, I'm a series producer, I'm even more than that, I'm an executive.
Uh-huh.
Were you in Bethel when the dream started?
Yeah.
Or is it something that bumped into you on your way, whether you were in varsity, or how did you even get to this place where you are right now?
I think the dream often starts before we know that it's a dream. The seed gets planted way more, way before we realize. I think with me, my mom, who is a retired school teacher, and my dad, who is a retired correctional services something. My mom read a lot, and my dad listened to a lot of music.
Sure.
So they influenced me a lot. My mom bought a lot of magazines, and back in the day, when there was no Instagram or whatever, you'd write to fan clubs.
Sure.
So I wrote to a lot of fan clubs. One of the people that I always used to write to was Bonnie Mbuli, who's now a very close friend of mine.
Wow.
Did I get a response? No, I didn't. Not from Bonnie. But I don't think she got my letters. But the one person who responded was Whitney Houston. Right?
You lie.
So I got a response from the office. Of course, back then, I thought it was Whitney. I thought Whitney responded to my letter. And, I mean, it was a very generic, thank you for your interest in being part of the fan club letter. I didn't care.
Sure.
It was a letter from America.
Sure.
And it was sent to Bethel, to my house, and it had my name on it. And my name was on the same letter as Whitney Houston's name. So I think that's probably where the dream began for me, that I wanted to be in showbiz and be within reach of stars. And as time went by, I think I just got interested in what it took to make television. I remember watching, there was a very popular show called Hlala Wabafileyo with Abo Pradon, Nawamlangeni, Abo definitely Moga Rutkele, most of whom have passed on. I would sit home and listen to what they're saying and write it down and write everything down and then play it again and then recite all of that. So I think at the time I thought I would be an actor. But,
Sure.
Yeah, but as time went by, I think after coming to Joburg, I realized that my calling was to be behind the scenes, but more than anything, I think to be of service to the space where stories are created. Yeah, so it began in Bethal. It was cultivated in Nigel High at my high school in the East End, and then it bloomed much later.
I don't understand how Nigel made it into the East End, but that's a topic for another day.
Listen, Nigel it's on the edge of Mpumalanga.
You know what I mean?
So it was like push, finally, because it was very close to Bethal. So I think we drove for an hour.
Yeah, because
to get to Nigel.
Bethel is in Mpumalanga.
Yeah, proper.
And then
Mpumalanga.
Jiggy Nigel, but hi guys, you guys belong here in Gauteng.
If Nigel shouldn't be in Gauteng, then Springs does not deserve to be in the East End also. And there's a lot
I
of
think
people
we're
from
starting.
Springs.
No, let's
Yeah,
not
so
even
let's
start.
not.
Let's not even start
Yeah.
that. Let's not start that war now. So you got to take me back.
Yeah,
So you go to Nigel High School.
yeah.
At the time, was there something like drama class?
Yeah.
Something you would take, an extramural
Yeah.
that had something to do with acting? And
Yeah.
were you involved? And how
Yes.
how massively involved were you
So
in that?
the interesting thing, right? So I'm studying. I think I've shared with you that I'm studying. I'm studying at Henley, and I'm doing really well.
Of course you should.
Okay, but
And if you don't do well,
no, I have to do it
Jaja.
because I'm paying from my own pocket. But in high school, I was lingering on life support, dog. Like my marks.
44%.
I mean,
Just making it.
the only
Is it 44%?
The only no back there.
It's 50% back then.
No, it's 40.
14, eh?
Yeah.
It was, so, because I understand you and I come from
Yeah,
the same era.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So the only subject where I really excelled was English. But everything else, man, I mean, my mom would get phone calls with Mrs. Vilakazi, we don't think your son is going to make it. And that time I was the head boy,
Umagawe.
right? I was the head boy. But really just lingering, hanging on a frail cliff, right? But the one thing that always kept me excited was anything that had to do with performing, whether it was being in the choir or musicals or house plays. So in my well, not same year because he was a year below me, Kagiso Modupi, who's an actor, writer, director. So he was a year below me.
Sure.
And then there was Puti Khomo at some point, although she left. But we were all in musicals together with a lot of other exciting people. So it was a school that really nurtured artists.
Sure.
And for me, that was the main driving force. That's why I went to school. Everything else was secondary, because like I said, my marks were sham. I attended.
Yeah.
I attended school.
So you would
never
definitely get like the present award. Attendance.
No, I wasn't that bad.
100%.
I wasn't that bad.
attendance. Yeah.
No, I was in a boarding school. I was in a hostel. So if you were in a hostel, you were under a lot of pressure to pass, to perform, because there was the reputation. Yes, hostel uthi awazozala failure.
Sure. And it doesn't make sense because they have blocks for you to study.
Yeah.
Everything
there's
like
quiet
there's a time.
time.
You know what I
there's a
mean?
whole
There's a
lot of-
timetable structure
so,
to it.
So I wasn't the worst.
Okay.
I definitely wasn't the best by far academically.
But what you're doing right now in your professional career, you are regarded as the best. Even the awards that you've won,
Yeah.
they've been a stamp of approval to say, Exe,
Yeah.
you're doing it.
Yeah.
The boy is doing it.
One could say that. One could take it that far.
I like your humility. Now, before we even talk about your humility, what
Yeah.
did you write to Whitney, yo?
Dog,
Do
let me
you
tell
even
you, man.
remember what
of
you
course
said?
I remember. Like, the first thing I said to her was that we are born on the same day, on the 9th of August.
Cheers, sir.
And what I specifically asked for were lyrics, because a lot of the songs that I had were taped from a radio station, from radio show. So I'd record those songs and I'd mumble my way around the lyrics.
Yes.
So I asked her for lyrics. I think I must have had like, I don't know, she's like 20 something songs that I needed to know.
Lyrics
so,
for
lyrics for different songs, like Where
didn't
Do
you know?
Broken Hearts
And
Go.
also because it sucks, right? Because like you are pirating music.
I mean,
'Cause
back then there was no such.
Let me tell you the truth, right?
There was
Let me
such.
tell you the truth about how piracy worked back
Yeah.
then. There were like the real like piracy dudes who were at like high the food chain
Yeah.
would take the CDs and reprint them and do everything themselves
So that
without
was
the record label
That was
knowing.
your generation that introduced that.
And then there was this one. Now, this one was recording a song as it played on the radio.
Yes.
And then you would make sure that you create the tape and then
Yeah.
you spread that tape around.
There was no spreading. The only spreading that happened was amongst my siblings
Okay.
and parents within the same household. Don't look at me with those judgmental eyes. It happened in the house, dog. So we shared the music in the house. And I mean, we're a very musical house. We're not vocalists, but we're a very musical house. So the basis of my letter was asking Whitney to send me lyrics.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get not one.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you got a generic response.
I got
and
a generic
And an
response.
autograph.
Yeah.
And Whitney's name. So
Yeah.
that counts for something.
Counted for everything.
In fact, that could have been your claim to fame as a youth
There's no one else that I know
from your hometown.
from anywhere who got that. And no one ever will because she's gone.
Yeah. May her soul
Yeah.
rest in peace.
Yeah.
May her soul rest in peace. Now, I want to go back to humility.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume the humility that you have comes from your background.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was it like growing up at home, and how many siblings did you have? Did you have to share space with others? And
Yeah.
how did you play your part as a team player?
Yeah.
Because, we are a community at home. As younger siblings or middle children, you might not understand it as
Yeah.
it's happening. But when you look back,
Totally.
there is a deep team ethos
Yeah.
that's instilled in you.
Absolutely.
So the humility, does it start from home?
Yeah.
And what is the reason for being humble at
Man,
home?
I think one, I have rock star parents who never said share, who never said give or be humble or be kind. I saw that. We saw them doing it. And of course you mimic what the parents do. And my older brother was, I mean, I see this now, but back then he was just my brother, but that was my first best friend who protected me all the time. I mean, he would slap me every now and then.
Sure,
But Umuzi protected me and beat up a lot of people who bullied me.
sure.
And I think because we grew up in church, all the principles and foundations were planted back then. And as I grew older, I think the schools that I went to, from Mbegezelo, Mtikovaria, then I was sent to a school in Newcastle, and then finally Nigel High. I was always surrounded by culture. I think culture of servitude, culture of kindness and really humility. So it's always been around me. And then of course the people that I have in my life they would not allow me to get over. Like I could never get. There's no way
Yeah,
I could not be humble
Yeah.
with the people that I have around who are just as great, if not greater than me, just in terms of accomplishments, achievements. So there's no room to not be humble and to wear whatever achievements I have, because there's more to that than me, and I think us as a group of people around, or community rather.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say like your humility roots are forever going deeper and deeper with the more you achieve, and the more you achieve, the more you understand the importance
Yeah.
of staying humble. Has life humbled you, Bonga?
I mean, life tends to humble you,
Nah.
and I think it's necessary. I was telling a friend of mine earlier today that when everything goes right in life, you tend to think or believe that you've made it, or that you are untouchable. So life has to humble you every now and then. You have to get rejections. And I deal with a lot of rejections.
Sure.
I'm in an industry where you get a lot of no's. I'm in an industry where you are sometimes told that you're not good enough or that there are people who are better than you. And I think those things are important just to keep you in check, man, and to remind you that you're not in control. I'm a big believer in God. And when everything is going right, we are tempted to think that we are in control, and we are not in control. You know? And so there's a lot of things that happen around me that are great, but I know that a greater hand is at play. So, and dog, I mean, I'm not always humble, you know. I have my moments.
Sure.
But
Because you are also human.
yeah, but I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by incredible people. I have the most amazing siblings. My parents, like I said, are my biggest cheerleaders. And then I have my wonderful friends who I mean, half the time I don't like them. Most of them, in fact. I don't want to name names, but they annoy me. But they're great for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're needed in my life.
Now, my follow-up question to that, right?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you have a great support base. Your
100%.
foundation is impeccable. In fact, this building that you are in right now will not tumble
Yeah.
based on the amazing foundation
Yeah.
that you have. How do you bounce back? Does your bounce back mean a phone call
Yeah.
back to mom's or
Yeah.
a phone call to your friend
Yeah.
or a therapist appointment
Yeah.
and then you book those
All of that, dog.
appointments?
All of that. All of that, man.
You
Oh.
got to walk me through your bounce back.
Yeah,
In the industry
yeah.
that you work in, too many no's. A lot of people forget, like with the yeses,
Yeah.
there's probably 10 no's to each yes.
20, dog.
What's your bounce back, not trick, but
Yeah.
like what keeps you bouncing back?
Man, it really depends. I'm a loner,
Sure.
right? I spend a lot of time alone. And contrary to what most people might think they know or believe, I'm an introvert. So I recharge by being alone. I have to be alone. I have to make sense of things in my head when I'm alone. So in most cases, that's how I recover. That's how I recharge. That's how I bounce back. And then, of course, a conversation with friends, whoever that might be. It might be a Teddy. It might be Itu. It might be Clement Musanolwazi, or whoever my friends are, whoever's there to say, yo, dog, like you're not that bad. Because as artists, we are very insecure.
Sure.
We are vulnerable. The one moment you'll wake up feeling like you are on top of the world, and the following day, the world is on top of you.
Yep.
And I go through that a lot, especially now. I think I was more self-assured when I was younger. Now that I'm older, I have to be intentional and I have to work at being okay all the time when I'm not okay. So I have to work my way up to being okay. It has to be a decision because I don't always wake up feeling great.
But I think also that says to you, you're not someone who struggle with acceptance. Accepting
Yeah.
accepting your current situation
Totally.
and knowing that nothing is permanent. In
Yeah.
fact, it's a temporary, even if it's a win,
Yeah.
it's temporary. If it's a loss, it's still.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't have put it like that, but that's definitely who I am. I think that's. I think life has taught me that it's better to be that way, to be ready to accept whatever changes that come in your life, and nothing is permanent. And I've seen that happening in my life over and over and over again. So I try to enjoy whatever moment I'm in, to be fully present, because I know that it will pass. And let me tell you what taught me that, right? So for the past 6 years, I've been a producer on the river, right? And when you are working on a telenovela, there are so many funny moments. There are so many precious moments. There are so many moments that you want to hold on to but you can't. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep moving. You can't hold on to the current successful storyline because it's funny and then it happens to trend, and then you wanna repeat it or feel that feeling again and again. You've got to move on and find the next thing that's going to resonate with the viewers. Well, with you, firstly, as a writer and as a creator, but then with the viewers. So that taught me that, while I'm there in that moment, whether it's scripting or editing the script or watching the scene being shot, to offline when I'm approving the episode, and then watch it one last time when it plays on air. I might go back on Showmax and watch it, but there's so much to do and so many other moments to create that you can't keep going back and holding on to that moment. It sounds flimsy, but that was a big lesson for me that I've got to try and live in that moment and enjoy it, because it might never come back.
Well, it's at least in my view, it's the Buddhist way of living.
Yeah.
You are in the moment, you enjoy what it comes with, and if it's struggle and pain, you endure it
fully
and you keep it moving.
Yeah.
Because what tomorrow brings, you and I don't know.
Yeah.
And
tomorrow will even come, dog.
Yeah. If that would be the case. Now I gotta take it back. This is one of my favorite questions to ask. Your first writing gig.
My first writing gig.
And you gotta walk me through.
Yeah.
Number one, the production. What are you writing for?
Yeah.
How much responsibility do you feel on your shoulders?
Yeah.
And do you deliver based on everyone's expectations of you?
Geez, dude, my first writing gig was Backstage.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old when I wrote for Backstage. And it was such a wild experience because I grew up watching Backstage.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote letters to Bonimbuli.
Yeah.
Right? I watched Katlego Danke on Backstage. And the fact that I know these people is just wild to me.
Yeah.
So many people that I met at Backstage, Rami.
Yeah.
So my first episode, I think it went out on air on the 18th of June, 2003, if I'm not mistaken, 2002. I had been getting training as a writer. I'd been spending a lot of time with the writers. And I remember being so nervous about my name being on TV, but I was so scared as well because my mom was not convinced that this is a job.
It's a real thing because you can't prove it.
Yeah.
You can't show it to people. It's like, oh, these are the offices. This is what I do.
Yeah, because all they see are the people on TV.
Yeah.
So to say, man, ngisebenze Backstage, okay, but
Uvela nini? Yeah. Because we can't see you.
Of Helig TV, And also you write and whatever you've written will only be broadcast months later. By the time they've been looking for your name and they're like, yes,
and also watching those subtitles can be tiring if you're looking for someone's name every day and it's not coming.
Yeah. So it eventually came.
Yeah.
It eventually came, and man, it's a feeling that I could never describe. It was not just a feeling of achievement, but looking at where I came from, Epethal, where there are two main roads, only two. And I only use the one because it's closer to home.
Flex. That's why he's the mayor.
Self-proclaimed.
The one that does not have potholes. It's not tarred, it's paved.
Dog, don't make fun of my hometown.
But look, we live in the same South Africa. And I've had the privilege of going to these, small towns, medium towns,
it's
big
wild,
towns.
man.
And it's
like
all the same,
it's
bro.
It's crazy, dog. It's crazy. I mean, I love my hometown, but man, the potholes.
Yeah.
They kill me, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, someone once asked me, Uti, ngizoshada nini? Ngathi lungisani lama potholes kuqala la, because I want my friends to come and have their cars broken down because bashayisa ama potholes while going to the matrimonial ceremony. So I'm not getting married there until those potholes are fixed. So that's how it happened, man. It was, I think, a lot had happened. Morula Pictures and ETV had just gotten into a very big disagreement. and ETV took the production from Morula Pictures and gave it to, I think it was called Mocha Movie Factory. And that's when Backstage moved to Johannesburg. And that's when I joined Backstage.
Yeah.
So there was a lot happening. There was a lot of uncertainty. Is this show going to be great? Wanted to be great. People had been recast. Clint Brink had left the show. He had gone to Generations, and there was Carlo McFarlane. So many people had changed. So there was a lot of uncertainty. I was excited.
Yeah, because you are young. You're only 20.
Dog, I'm only 20. I'm from Epethal.
Yeah.
I'm still studying, and I was around Abo Ipeleng, Nabo Katleho, Abo Miss Grace, Nabo Baby Cele, Nabo a whole lot of great people. So
TV
it was
royalty in South Africa.
totally, dog. People that I still adore to this day, the Loshia Coopers of this world. I was just beyond ecstatic to be in that space. Me, in that space. Thinking about it and thinking about my life, it's just wild to me. Just like it's crazy. Like my life is
A movie.
it's a
In fact, saying your life is a movie, it's like it's a cliche, but like you are blessed and you are privileged to
totally.
live out your dreams and
Totally,
see
though.
your dreams happen in front of you.
Man, let me tell you, Smash, not a day goes by without me realizing that, because there are so many other people who are more talented than me. People who are brilliant writers. Where umuntu ku WhatsApp abhale 2 line, and I'm like, what?
Hot.
Kunabantu ababhala so,
Yeah,
but they're not where I am.
sure.
So I'm not oblivious to the blessings that have been afforded to me and whatever other privileges that I have. So it's something that I never ever stop thinking about.
Now, 20-year-old Bonga gets, to be part of a culture shift when we talk about South African youth television. Because Backstage
Listen,
was at the heart of SA youth.
It was
There was
everything,
no
dog.
program like Backstage
Yeah.
before Backstage came on.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I
Yeah.
love, having juggernauts like you come
Yeah.
on.
It was everything.
Because we get to truly reflect on the impact. ETV is starting out. They
Yeah.
want this audience. They
Yeah.
want a youthful audience.
Yeah.
You represent young people as a
Yeah.
young writer at 20. How does it go from having the belief to write your first script, the editors we love it, and then you see actors deliver those lines, they kill it,
Amen.
right? What
Listen.
happens in your first 5 years now? From 20 years old
Yeah.
to 25, because I can
Yeah.
imagine shooting star stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, when you are from a small town like me, dog, that was everything for the people of Bethel. That was everything for the people of Nigel High School, right? I mean, songs were being sung about me in high school.
Chaser.
Who was telling me about it? Someone was telling me about a song that was sung in high school. It is Kumbulu Percy. So I was the
For
head boy.
real?
Yeah.
For real? That's dope,
It
man.
was incredible, man. Who told me? I'll remember who told
So
me.
there was an entire Gujo squad for you, bruh.
Nigel High School, dog, when it came to athletics, there was something called the Spirit Cup. We always won the Spirit Cup. There was Benoni High, Boxburg High, I think Willow Moore and other schools. And Nigel High School always won because of these songs.
And you had to drive far. That's why you guys were so good. That's singing.
Yeah.
From National to Benoni, let's say you play.
We
you're
had to.
already hot
Yeah.
by the time you arrive at the venue.
Yeah. Now we had to, man. And so I know that it meant a lot to not just me or my family or people from church, but it was bigger than me. It was a moment that showed everyone that it doesn't matter where you come from. You are able, and it sounds so cliched, and I roll my eyes whenever people say this. And my friends are probably rolling my eyes as they listen to this. But that's what it taught me, that it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. And I'm just the living testimony.
Now, the reason why I said I want to reflect on your first 5 years, like as a 20-year-old, right? You are. What I love about this podcast is we look at what leaving it better is like from person to person.
Yeah.
So each perspective is different, right?
Yeah.
So you are 20 years old, you are in there, and man, you don't mess this up, okay? You
Yeah.
just keep going, you stay dedicated, you
Yeah.
keep your head down. You are the loner, you are learning the city, you are building relationships. When you look back, is there anything that you went through that you're like, yo, today, I don't want to see this kind of thing. A young person or a young writer, a young camera person
Yeah.
going through
Oh my
on a
gosh,
set,
yeah.
on a set,
Yeah.
or a young actor going through. Is there something that for you that was a personal choice to say,
Yeah.
this is the place that I'm gonna play in, and I'm gonna stay on my lane,
100%.
and this is where I'm going to leave it better? What is that for you?
100%. So before I answer that question, it was Sol Penduga who told me that a friend of his who was at Nigel High School told him about me and the song that they were singing. Yeah, Sol.
Crazy.
So when I was younger, right, after I'd written for Backstage, I wrote for Take 5, I wrote for a couple of shows. Then I went to this one show where this wonderful producer, white lady, said to me, Percy, you are many things, but you're not a writer. I just don't see it in you. You're not a writer, you know. You out there, your personality is out there. It was the first time I heard the word flamboyant. Said you're flamboyant. I would say your mother is flamboyant. Had I known what that word meant then, I would have said your grandmother is flamboyant. So, and she said to me, you're not a writer. And I believed her. And I stopped writing.
Oh no.
I stopped writing because I thought, well, this is a lovely lady who obviously cares about me, and she just wants to see me do well. And if she says I'm not a writer, then I'm not a writer. So I stopped writing for television, and I went and I did other things in the industry. I think that's when I got into artist management, and I managed a couple of my friends. And then it filled me with so much insecurity that I was scared to write. Each time I wanted to write, I kept remembering this woman
Voice.
who was a renowned producer who had done great shows. And to put me back into writing, someone who said, "Uti, listen, you know, she actually just believed that I was a great writer, and I don't know why and how, because she had read my writing. Portia Kumete.
Oh wow.
Portia Kumete and I met when I was at Backstage, and we didn't have cars, and we were walking to Hyde Park. I think ETV had just moved to Hyde Park, if I'm not mistaken. And Portia and I kept in touch, but we didn't see a lot of each other. And then years later, Portia offered me a job. And I remember thinking, what does she know about me? But she never forgot about our encounter way back when we met, when we worked together on Backstage. So she found me there. But she remembered that moment. So to answer your question, I promised myself that I would always be responsible with my words and what I say to young people who want to be writers, that I do not have the right to say to someone, you are not this or you're not that. What I can do is offer guidance and say, to be a better writer, because I myself am always aspiring to be a better writer. I'm always doing writing courses of some sort, because you never stop learning. So I'll always offer guidance and advice and say, to be a better writer, to do things better, you've got to do 1, 2, 3. I mean, you can't write if you don't read, for example. You've got to read more.
True.
There's a lot of sewing that you need to do, because I don't want someone giving up on their dream because of my careless words. And as a result, I'm very intentional about the words that I use. So I teach in a lot of tertiary institutions, writing and producing and whatever. And I'm just always careful with the words that I use because I know what it did to me. In the end, because the Bible does say that all things work together for the good, of those for those who love the Lord. It worked out for me, and it worked in my advantage because I got to learn new skills. I started writing for magazines around that time, where I interviewed many incredible people.
Yeah.
I got to be exposed to the music industry.
Yeah.
And these are all contacts and skills that I think have culminated to the producer that I am today. So I'm not mad at that woman for saying what she said because I think it was all part of the plan. It was all part of my destiny for getting me in the space that I found myself in.
Sounds like you are a versatile individual.
I have to be, dog.
Now, that's where I'm going with this question. In this industry, the entertainment industry, one can come in and say, I want to act.
Yeah.
But they might not know there's another talent hidden inside of them.
Yeah.
That is waiting. In fact, it's bubbling, just waiting to be ignited.
Yeah.
To someone watching this podcast, feeling like they have a little something to offer the world in terms of telling stories or playing roles.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to them about being versatile and what that speaks to in terms of one's character?
Yeah. Firstly, that sounds like an essay question. That Henley would ask. And at that time, I'd be rolling my eyes and like, F my life.
I don't know. So I don't know how I come up with these questions sometimes.
I mean, you don't have to be this deep, dog. Like life and its depth is just tough enough. I think being in the creative arts, you've got to be curious. You can never get to a place where you are comfortable and just satisfied with where you are and what you know. So one of the things that I'm trying to teach myself is to celebrate the small victories.
Sure.
Right? And not think about what's next. Okay, what's coming next? What am I going to do next? How do I sustain my life professionally, emotionally, financially? Because that's a big one. Because I like things also.
Expensive things.
I like things. So,
like eggs in South Africa.
There's that. So I've always tried to know more about everything that's around me, about everything that affects me. I mean, I'm from a scripted TV background, but you and I have encountered each other on different spaces.
It was through music, funny enough.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Boma 2016, if not 2015.
Yeah.
Early days
Yeah.
of, and I was working at Y, and you're like, yo, man, I see what you guys are doing, and I hear you there on the radio.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it was like just around like culture.
Yeah.
You know? So
totally. I remember that.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to know more and to learn more and to immerse myself in other spaces. Like I don't want to be someone who's known just for dramas and telenovelas. Like I want to write the awards. I want to write for magazines. I want to write books, and that's why I've gone into all those spaces. So I think for any creative, especially in this day and age where there are so many tertiary institutions that teach film and TV. My colleague Candice and I were talking about the reality of all these people not finding work, because that's the reality. That if in one class there are 50 people, right, in one class, there are, I think, 8, 9, if not 10 institutions that teach film and TV. How are you going to differentiate yourself from the next person? What is going to make you stand out? What is special about you? Granted, you all might be talented, but what is going to make you memorable. And I think versatility is one of those things that
Sure.
you can't be. Of course, there's got to be something that you specialize in, but you can't be a one-trick pony in 2023 in an industry where you don't even have to go to school to do what we're doing. You know, really, in
Or
most
go
cases,
far, in fact.
totally, dog. And I mean, we see this more and more, and with hashtags like "open up the industry" and whatever the fuck's out there. The barriers to entry are lower than ever, but the sustenance and the staying power, that is what will make you different from everyone else. Because sometimes getting in is easy, but staying in and being relevant and continuously evolving and learning and being marketable, that's what makes you different from everyone else.
Yeah, they always say like it's easy to get to number one if you've prepared, you've trained,
Yeah.
you are talented.
Yeah.
But keeping the number one spot is the difficulty
Totally, dog.
because you are the target.
Yeah.
Everyone
yeah.
wants your spot, right?
Yeah. Sorry, it's like auditioning. You can prepare for weeks for an audition
Yeah.
and get the role. But once you're there and you have to shoot 15 scenes,
Yeah.
4 days in a row.
Do you have the stamina?
Yeah.
Are you willing to prepare? Are you willing to sacrifice the time?
There's all of that. And some people don't. They crash and burn.
Do you justify parents not encouraging their kids? Or do you agree with parents who encourage their kids not to go into the entertainment industry due to how turbulent it can be, unsustainable it is, and most importantly, exploitive in terms of, if you don't know, jova.
Yeah, dog.
You know?
Man, I don't have children.
And the reason why I'm asking you that question, you are someone who is doing the legwork of most productions. A lot of people don't know the amount of stress and a lot of moving parts that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
You know, it's on you.
It's crazy, dog.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, parents have that responsibility of their children and their well-being and how far they go.
Yeah.
And if a parent is like reluctant about their child going into entertainment, there's a reason, you know?
Yeah.
And because they've seen it play in front of them. And some of them say, nah, go and do you, man. Do what makes you happy. So my question is, do you agree with the parents who are reluctant to allow their kids to, you know, pursue a career in entertainment? And what are you saying to the parents who are like, do you, Ntanam?
Hey, dog.
Just do you.
Hey, man. Listen.
And it's always beautiful from people who are not parents. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because if you're a parent, brah, you are the most subjective person. You're not objective at all.
Right?
You know what I mean?
I can imagine.
So I want you to come through with...
Well, let me say this. My nephew said he wants to go into TV, and I said, what the fuck for? What for? Out of all the... For in. Because not everyone has it in them to make it. It's a tough industry, dog. And if I could, I would protect my children or anyone that I love from coming into the industry. It's oversaturated. There's too many of us. And yes, we will say there's something for everyone. You know, the cake is big enough, whatever.
The pie.
Yeah, whatever.
Everyone's gonna get a
things we
slice.
say. Yeah, the things we say when we try to sound inclusive. But it's not the case, man. Like, there are so many moving pieces that you have to work around. So if I had a child, let me tell you something. I would make sure that they play as far as possible. Like, I would not expose them to this industry at all. The most that I would do is they will get piano lessons. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Bahambe by your composer.
Sure.
If they want to satisfy the artist in them. But with the way that I think sometimes the industry is, especially in our country, and hopefully things change and they get better for the generations to come, I'm not comfortable with my child being in this industry. So of course, parents must be parents. So I don't blame parents who say, maybe not yet. I think what they should do, though, is to encourage the child to do research, present
Their case.
your case to your parents, and then have a balanced conversation, because in most cases, there will be moments when you don't work in this industry. That's a given. That's a given. So if your family is cool with supporting you once a year, then that's fine. Then you should go and do that course. Or if you've got a support structure that is solid enough, then yeah, get your child to do the course. But me, hayi ngeke.
I want to talk to you about something that I think probably you are going to be real with. You know, in this industry, it's glitz and glam.
Yeah,
You know, lights, camera, action.
yeah,
Nothing is real. That's why it's called television. Tell a lie vision.
yeah.
How do you think people who work in the industry, and especially in front of the camera, can ease the pressures from society and not live beyond their means? And I'm not saying you're a financial advisor.
Yeah.
I'm just talking from brother to brother.
Yeah.
You know, you just got some words of wisdom to share
Yeah.
and encourage. What do you have to say to young artists who are going to fall into the trap of living beyond their means because of the said pedestal that the followers put them on?
Yeah,
These
yeah.
lights and cameras
Aye, dog.
shine on them.
So, I mean, I'm not on TV,
Sure.
but I, in the past, made some terrible financial decisions
Sure.
when I was in my early 20s. I mean, I made some weird decisions because I was writing a lot of scripts. You know, I was
Busy. You booked
yeah,
them busy.
Yeah, and I made a bit of money. And I just, ngayiqeda imali yami. And I think had I known better, had I known more about financial planning, I'm okay now, but I think I would probably be a lot further. Dog, the artists of today, whether in front of the camera or behind the scenes, I just watch the pressure that they put themselves under by making the decision to just put themselves out there and create a perception of a life that they don't live or a life that they can't always afford. The way that I have protected myself, certainly in social media, for me, my social media is to make Musa Mtombeni's life miserable. That's the only reason I'm on Instagram, is to remind that man that I'm better than him. In many ways, he might be a doctor, he might have married Lisa Laurie, but I'm better than him. Matter of fact, I would marry Lisa in the next lifetime. But I'm not Lizel's type. So I just think that we really mess it up, man, when we try to sell a dream that is not consistent or that doesn't exist. And it's just unnecessary pressure that people put themselves under. And my thing is just live your life privately. Live your life privately. People who need to know what's going on will know what's going on. And the rest of the people, if you give them access, then that's on you. But it's just pressure that people choose to put on themselves. And it's just a concept that has never made sense to me, because I've been in the industry for this long where artists were living very simple lives and there were no pressures to seem for them to look richer than they are or more accomplished than they are. People are just living their lives and just acting or just creating wonderful work. So I'm trying to adjust myself to this new way of living.
It sounds like you're on the journey of being content.
I mean, I'm fucking 40. If it doesn't start now, then I don't know.
It's late. Why forget late?
Yeah, I don't know, dog. I'm telling you, man. Dog, you see, at this point, man, like, I just want to do great work.
Sure.
I just want to be a good person, a good son, a good brother, a good friend, a good partner, a good colleague. And I just don't want things that will stress me out. You know, I don't want things that will just drain me emotionally, whether it's work, whether it's friendships or relationships. I just want to live a good life. I've lost a lot of people. And I don't want to waste my time on frivolous things that will not matter in the end. Life is short, but it can be very long, as short as it is. So I'm just trying to be happy, man.
Now, we got to wrap it up. Do you
Yeah.
remember the first time you got into a car?
Yeah.
You knew nothing about driving.
Yeah.
But they said, Exe, Bonga, drive. Percy, drive. What
Well-
car was it? And how did you get yourself into that car? And how was that experience?
Hey, man. One of my closest friends, Tebogo Lepito, 33, he drove a yellow Beetle. And,
It's still around. Oh, did they sell it?
No, it's
He's-
sold.
he
No,
sold it.
you know the navy blue one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a new
okay,
one.
okay.
So I think we're working at Backstage in 2004, 5, I don't remember. And he was an editor. And he was driving a yellow Beetle. And I asked if I could drive it.
Oh, you asked?
Yeah, I
you
asked.
had the guts?
Yeah, I mean, he had a car and I didn't. And I got inside that car. 15 seconds later, I was apologizing for the massive bump.
The front,
Still
or
reminds
the
me.
front or the rear?
Front. He still reminds me to this day. We've done a lot of great things together. We've done a lot of great shows.
yeah.
I've given him colognes. He's given me sneakers because he has sneakers that would fill an entire mall.
Yeah, don't put him on blast.
But he does. Everyone knows this. I interviewed him for a magazine, and on the cover it was Tebogo with hundreds of sneakers around him.
Around him, and they're all his.
They're all his.
They're all a size 8 or
yeah,
size
and he's
8
my
and a
age.
half.
He's my size.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
size 8.
Yeah.
So he, man, like his heart was so broken. And I could see the conflict in his eyes. He loved me, but he was like, dog, you've just fucked me up, man. Like this is my car. And you asked to drive this car. Is this what you call driving where you come from? Because where I come from it's not what we call driving.
Who paid for the repairs?
I didn't pay. He had more money than me.
He's always had more money,
Yeah.
bruh.
Yeah.
Lipito, share the money, bruh.
Yeah.
So I think you might have touched on this, but
Yeah.
before I leave you with this question, I just want to talk about all the productions that you worked for.
Yeah.
Do you have the least fun production, and the least fun? Let's attach it to stress,
Yeah.
like how much stress it had.
Yeah.
And the most fun in terms of how effortless and everything was just like,
Yeah.
how guys, this is
Yeah.
us.
Nah, dog. Nothing
you-
is effortless. Whether it's the river or the Republic or the Viewers' Choice Awards or the SAFTAs, there's always a lot to stress about, dog, because you are doing work for people to consume. And once you do something for the consumption, yabantu, you've got to try at least to cover every angle, to cover every base, because you're putting yourself out there to be judged, criticized, praised even. So I've learned to be able to have fun in the midst of all the stress. Let me tell you, I don't remember when last I was as stressed as I am now. We are doing a new show, an incredible telenovela,
Sure.
completely out of my scope, the world, right? And
Sure.
and the subject matter.
Sure.
And it requires me to step out of my comfort zone and to do so much research. I'm going to Durban this weekend to do research, right? No one asked me. I'm using my own money because I don't want to get it wrong.
Sure.
But I'm also having fun while
Sure.
putting this show together. In the process of casting, I'm speaking to the music people, whoever's going to do music for us, the look, the uniform, all of that stuff. I'm enjoying the process. I'm having a lot of fun, but it's also stressful
You
because
don't sleep.
because if it goes wrong for whatever reason, I'm the one that's going to be side-eyed. Mr. Producer, uwelo.
Sure. And you
Uwelo.
can't do that.
Yeah, can't. can't. There's just no space to. Not when the television industry is a multi-million rand industry, multi-million, and when you are dealing with that much money, you don't want to be the person that dropped the ball or that fell asleep behind the wheel. I was gonna say fuck the cat, but you can edit. You can cut that out.
Let's leave that one. Let's leave that one out. No cats were
Listen,
injured
I'm from
in
church.
the recording
Yeah.
of this podcast. Okay. No cats were even seen in the building or close to the building.
Yeah.
Leave the cats alone.
Let
the cats.
Let them stray.
Yes, let them stray.
Yeah.
I almost said something stupid. All right, cool. Before I let you go,
Yeah.
I think you might have touched on it, like I said. What is that thing you want to be remembered for?
Dog.
Or things? Expensive things?
You know,
Taste?
look, superficially, I would like to be remembered for my cologne collection. But I know my brothers are going to take that the moment they pronounce me dead.
Yeah.
And my friends are going to take that.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably like to be remembered as someone who was kind. You know, someone who made an effort to make life better through kindness and positivity. It's not up to me, though, to decide how I'm remembered. I think I affect people differently. I'm sure there are people who will roll one eye each time they think of me, way after my tombstone has been erected. But certainly from my side, I would just really like to be remembered as someone who tried to make the world a better place. Yeah.
Cheers, Michael.
I saw. I didn't say for you and for me.
That's why I said cheers, Michael. That Michael could be anyone.
That's you.
You know what I mean? Thank you so much for watching another episode of Leave It Better with Smash Africa. And if you're wondering, why is there so much space here? Hey, brah. That's what happens when you take a break. But we are back, and it feels so good to be back. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you. Big love.